Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So what day is it in the Jewish calendar?
Nisan 23.
24th of Nisan. No.
Well, 23 at the moment, Julia is right. It will be 24 officially once those 3 stars come out. And reminder, that's when you're going to count your Omer. We can't do it before that moment. How do we know what day it is?
Because the moon.
The moon! The moon, exactly right. The moon tells us. So you're saying you can look up at that moon and tell precisely what day it is?
Well, if I were a farmer, maybe.
If you were a farmer. But could you calculate a calendar 15 plus 100 years ago that would still be precisely relevant for your descendants that 1500 years later? I'm not asking for a show of hands of who can handle that level of mathematic precision, but that's what our ancestors did. We know precisely what day it is today, and they could have predicted what day it would be today, because 1500 years ago they committed to paper the calculations needed down to the 9th or 10th decimal place of exactly how the moon's phases would happen around its travels orbiting the Earth, and that would allow us to precisely know when we are going to have a holiday, like Pesach, and for some of us, very importantly, when the holiday is over, and you can go back to eating your chametz. That precision was essential. It's the same kind of precision that allows us to take 4 people and chuck them at the moon, swing just around the backside, and be able to know that they should be landing in a little bit less than an hour. Despite the hundreds of thousands of miles they have had to travel there and back, we can know almost down to the minute, and probably we could do down to the minute, know exactly when they'll land. And there are people who consider that to be so impossibly precise that it all must be fake. I don't know if you've been watching all of the Artemis discussion, and I apologize for having to utter the name of a Greek god, but this is a NASA mission, so I think I have dispensation. During the Artemis mission, the moon mission, that'll be easier to say. During the moon mission, I naturally have a proclivity for alliteration. During the moon mission, obviously we have all been amazed at the wonderful journey that they have taken and wish them a safe return, but there has also been a number of voices on social media that are taking every opportunity to just ask questions. You know, the excuse me kind of questions. I don't know if I am missing something here, which, by the way, means they think they know better than you and everyone at NASA. But how is it that there is light on the dark side of the moon? I mean, are we really supposed to believe this is happening when they've got light on the dark side of the moon? Anyone want to field that question? Do we know why there's light on the dark side of the moon?
Solar rays.
Yeah, it's this thing called the sun, the giant fusion reaction that's been going off in the center of our solar system for a very long time, and it actually illuminates a whole lot, and light has this whole, spillage effect. But even more importantly, the dark side of the moon is not actually dark. We call it that because from our point of view, it's the part, due to it being tidally locked with the Earth, that we don't get to see from the ground. But when the moon goes around the planet, its backside is facing the sun. So it gets sunlight all the time, even if we don't get to see it being illuminated. Likewise, people are going, they're going to hit the atmosphere at going 30 times the speed of sound. That's impossible. They would blow up. There's nothing, you can't just go 30 times the speed of sound. Yeah. It's frustrating. Because what's happening here is the same thing that happens with people also within Judaism. Indeed, we see in this week's Torah portion a very poignant example of it. Of people who believe something is too hard for them to understand, and rather than imagining that their own understanding is limited, they imagine the thing that they are having trouble understanding must be wrong. If it doesn't fit my common sense, if it doesn't fit my intuition, if I can't figure it out on the back of a napkin, then someone's got to be cheating me. Someone's got to be lying to me. Someone has to be playing a trick on me because I understand everything. And so if I can't figure out why there's light on the moon, then that means that the studio engineers that are faking the moon got it wrong. If I can't figure out how they can hit the atmosphere at 30 times the speed of sound and still be okay, God willing, then someone must be lying, because if it doesn't make sense to me, it can't be true. This type of arrogance in the face of things that are more amazing than us can affect both those that are irreligious and who will deny the existence and presence of God and deny the validity and truth of Torah for guiding our life. But it can also affect people that are deeply religious. In fact, we see in this week's Torah portion the two sons of Aaron, who believe that these limitations on how we are supposed to serve God, of exactly what comes before God's altar, those limitations must be merely suggestions. Because after all, I can't immediately see why one type of incense is better than another, or one type of fire would be acceptable and another not. So if I think it's a good idea, I can do it. I can bring whatever I want up to the altar, and they are struck down by fire. Because it doesn't work like that. Just because you can't understand it doesn't mean there aren't good rules. Something that every child knows. Well, they may give a little grief to the family, but intuitively they know there are things in life they don't understand, that their parent tells them that it is good and important, that they accept that eventually they will understand, and keep asking those questions until you do. And there are some things parents do that don't always make sense, but much of what we do does. But Nadav and Avihu, unfortunately, they were filled with that same type of arrogance, and our tradition ascribes to them many forms of their arrogance, thinking that, look at what we're doing, look at how we get to be leaders of the people, look at how we have now been given this hereditary post, and everybody is going to be flocking to us, especially the girls. And yes, that is part of our traditional understanding of their arrogance. And won't it be fine and dandy when these two old guys, Moses and Aaron, finally die, and we can take over for real? And it is that type of arrogance that led them to the breach of protocol when approaching God's altar. And it's that type of arrogance that led to them being struck down. Judaism wants us to ask questions, and it wants us to probe, and it wants us to believe that the mysteries of this universe are understandable. But it doesn't want us to think that they're easily understandable. It doesn't want us to believe that each individual at any given moment understands them without any effort, without any new acquisition of knowledge and insight, without any patience, without any humility. When we throw this capsule of 4 people at the moon, NASA does so with the utmost humility, understanding that yes, thanks to the precision of God's world, not only could our ancestors understand precisely what day it would be today from 1,500 years in the past, but so too we can know precisely where that moving target of the moon is going to be, close enough that we can ensure that these 4 people will not only reach the moon, but come back around and return to Earth, hopefully preparing us to continue these processes and do so for the betterment of all of humanity. That type of humility comes from questioning and learning and understanding. That type of humility is the foundation of Judaism. Not a humility that says, don't ask questions, not a humility that says, only do what I say and shut up, but a humility that says, I don't know everything yet. But because I don't know everything yet, I'm not going to break anything. But I will keep asking, I will keep learning, and I will keep standing in awe at the majesty of God's world, both the natural world around us, the moon in the sky and the earth beneath us, as well as the spiritual world within us and contained within the Torah as well. Shabbat Shalom.